Boris Johnson is facing a second police inquiry. You'd think he was illegal enough, but no, turns out there was more parties that never got looked into last time. Now, Ben, can you take us through this? What's he been accused of this time?
Right, so these allegations, they came brilliantly from his own diaries. So he handed over his diaries, and these are official diaries. These aren't like memoirs about, oh, Dylan's done another poo on the carpet. These are who he's meeting, where and when. So official diaries of the Prime Minister at the time. So covering June 2020 to May 2021, when we started to come out of lockdown restrictions, then went back into them in November, then came out of them after a month, then went back into them wholesale in very early January 2021. And then there was the various stages of lifting of restrictions. So there were different rules at different times covering those 11 months. Sometimes there were hardly any rules. Sometimes there were very tight rules on who you could mix with and who you couldn't. And the claim seemed to be that when he was at Chequers, which is the country retreat about 40 miles northwest of London, up in the Buckinghamshire countryside, it's lovely. I haven't actually been to Chequers, but I've been in the countryside surrounding it. It's very nice.
You've been in the lane outside, haven't you?
Well, actually, not for work. There's a lovely walk you can do in the countryside around it. I'll send you a link. It's great. The views are fantastic over the Chilterns. Anyway, but whilst he was there, that he had friends and family round to stay, essentially, or meet up at least, and go for walks, go for meals. Now, depending on the dates, when what occurred, which we don't know the detail of, some of that will have been allowed. Some of it might not have been allowed. When the Cabinet Office lawyers were going through his diaries, preparing for, his lawyers actually preparing for his defence to the public inquiry, which is going to start, they flagged this with the Cabinet Office, who then reported it or handed them to Thames Valley Police, which covers Buckinghamshire, covers Chequers, and to the Met. And both forces have said that, that they confirmed last night they've received, they haven't said allegations, but they've received information which they're looking at, covering June 2020 to May 2021. Now, the Met said that the information they received refers to things happening in Downing Street, Partygates, but things that haven't been investigated by the police before. So they're looking at that again, and Thames Valley Police are looking at what may or may not have happened at Chequers. So it basically
got two new police inquiries then, not just the one. We've got more in Downing Street as well.
Well, they haven't launched inquiries yet. They're looking at the information. So, there's different technical stages that are gone through before they formally trigger an inquiry, which they haven't reached that stage yet. But certainly both forces are looking at information. Yeah, things that happened in Downing Street and things that happened up at Chequers, according to the two police forces' statements. The Commons Privileges Committee has been looking at for months whether or not Boris Johnson misled Parliament when he denied parties, first revealed by the Daily Mirror, of course, were held in Downing Street. They were due to report next month. Now, that might be put on hold because they might want to look at, or they might want to let the police have time to look at these allegations. They might want to call Boris back to ask him about whatever the police say about it. That then delays the process by which possibly Boris Johnson could end up being suspended as an MP. If he's suspended for 10 days or more, that could trigger a by-election, almost certainly would trigger a by-election in his Uxbridge and South Ruislip constituency, which as a by-election, Labour would target it very, very heavily and could see him ejected from Parliament. There's a lot of coulds, maybes, following things down the path here. But this is another Partygate issue for the former Prime Minister, who at the moment is in Las Vegas, which I don't think anything party-like happens in Vegas at all.
Boris Johnson in Vegas. I mean, what could possibly go wrong there? Oh, my word. Now, Heather says, what about the other people who were there? He surely wasn't there on his own. They should all be named, shamed and investigated, charge them all and fine them. What do you think, everybody? Do you think it's worth going over this again? Or do you think that Boris should be just given, it's a long time ago, Boris should be given a pass?